Okay. All right. Episode 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we got big gambling, big gotcha this week. And what better way to start than, a background game of Genshin.
That's right. Lots of stuff going on in the gambling gotcha community as
Yeah.
of recent.
Yeah.
Lots of hot news to talk about. Um, we didn't really pick a path for this episode, so we're kind of just
Yeah.
gonna talk and ramble and see what happens.
Yeah. Um
Um,
I
how do
mean
you want to start?
I guess let's get the bad out of the way, okay? Honkai Star Rail, absolute garbage. All right, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That game is so bad, and like I genuinely think they hate their fans. You have that huge like 500,000 Jade or whatever event, and magically, and this is gonna be like very skeptical, very like tinfoil hat. You're telling me only like TikTok streamers won, or TikTok whatever people
Yeah,
won?
European TikTok creators.
Yeah, like that
Not
is
even like where are the
weird.
Americans at?
I
Like,
think I think only
it's
one American won, correct? And it was still like a content
I don't even
creator.
know if American one to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm
It's
just like, oh my god, like that is so. I'm again not saying it was rigged, but oh my god.
I know you can call it rigged because it had to. Like, come on, man. They're not just giving out 500K J's
Jeez,
to
yeah,
some
yeah.
random player.
That was just odd. And then, like, I think a week or two after that, see, they did that, get everybody back into playing it, trying to win the Jades, okay? And then they get back, release the new, like, area, region, whatever, and it is dog. It is terrible. Like, it's just everything about Honkai Star Rail is just it's so bad, okay? The gameplay's boring. The characters are like mostly unlikable. I mean, for God's sake, the least they could do is make a character that isn't like stuck on themselves. And I will say they did a decent job with some of the characters in this patch. But I played the patch and I stopped playing. There was no reason for me to play.
Yeah, it's it, Honkai really is one of those games where if you're not deeply obsessed with like the lore or the
Yeah,
gameplay
yeah.
itself, it's just not for you. I
Yeah.
think
Well, and the
it.
meta, it's just oh my god! Every new character they release. What was the new character you told me? You told me something about the new
Yes, yes. So
character.
Castress, right? The undead chick.
Yes.
Um, Essentially, if you own that character, she doesn't have to be in your party as long as you own the character. She will revive your team when they die one
Like,
time per battle.
yeah, like like whole team. Like, does everybody have to die?
I'm pretty sure it's the
Oh
whole
my!
team.
It's not, and she doesn't even have to be in the party. That's the worst. But it would be one thing if it was, they had to be in the party, and like she wasn't like amazing, but that was like her main usage. It is not even that good. Or I mean, it's not even that simple. No, 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 no. She is so powerful that it is every single character, and for free. Doesn't have to be on the team. Doesn't nothing. That if that's not pay to win, I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, like even if you didn't weren't gonna pull for her for the fact she's like a main DPS or whatever, which is essential in that game.
Which
Her
is
pull value just
crazy.
increased by like 5 tons
Yeah. Well,
for
and
that
this is
singular factor alone.
yeah, and this is after the Firefly meta. No, I don't even want to say after, because it's still a meta.
It's still like a top 3 meta.
Exactly. Like, oh my
Like,
god. I don't
uh,
like every
how
single character, and the fact that it's like mono pyro now, and they could add weakness to the enemies. Like, it's so broke, and every single character they release is just better than the last.
which that's gonna happen anyways, because if you know like the Hoyoverse games, every character they release, they get like plus 10 level like
Yeah.
points they can put towards another stat, which is obviously why like Elon will have more like points than like Venti. But
Yes. Well, and that's fine, every single I understand every update, people are gonna get better, there's gonna be game changes. Obviously the later characters are gonna be stronger than the beginning characters, and that's fine, and I completely understand that. What I don't appreciate is how unbalanced a lot of it is. ZZZ I think is doing a fantastic job with how they handle it, and I think Genshin to a point, outside of their endgame content, I just mean in pure like usage is fine. ZZZ, new game starting out, you only go up to level 60 for right now. and they handle it decently well, and I can appreciate that. They don't try to make anything too busy, too like overpowered. Like their best thing is like Miyabi, and that's fine. That is okay.
Yeah, I think if they were to make, if they were gonna make a character OP like they did, Miyavi is the character to go with. She's known as the strongest Void Hunter
Yeah.
in the world that we know of.
Right, and like
So
it makes sense in lore and in canon and whatever. It's fine. Genshin, I think, does an okay job with it. Maybe what really irritates me is that recently their endgame content feels pay to win. More so the Abyss than the Imaginarium Theater, and how they handle like free to play in terms of, okay, I have a 5 star, or even I have a slightly good team, like 1 or 2 good characters, and then the rest are just like supports, whatever. My big thing is that all the endgame content in the Abyss feeling like you need a specific character, and mostly it's the Natlan characters, which makes sense. Current region makes complete sense, but it was never like that before. And the most you had is like Nouvelette in Fontaine. Was that a big issue because of how powerful he was, and still is? Yes, it was a huge issue. There was a lot of trouble and like stuff with his meta and how strong he was, and like with combination for all that, right?
yeah,
But it never got to a point where I felt like, oh, I needed to pull for Nouvelette to get endgame content done, or I needed whatever specific character to get content done. No, it was fine. You could very much get away with having a specific character, like not an optimal team comp, and that was okay. That was completely fine. Now it feels like, oh, I need some Natlan character. I need Jilin, and I need Mavwika. I need Kanish. Whoever, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a huge problem, and I really, really, really hope that somewhere along the line from Natlan to Sneznaya, they get it under control a little bit more, make it a little easier to play.
hmm and to reference the point you made with like Nouvelette, people will still pull for Nouvelette regardless, just because people like the character.
Exactly.
They made a good character. A
Yes.
lot of people don't like the Natlan characters for whatever reason,
Hmm.
but and but people are pulling from them because you have to. It's at a
Yeah.
point where you have to pull them for the Night Shield break. You know,
Yes.
the genuine like they make exploration so much
Easier.
easier.
Yeah.
And it's Genshin's in a weird. They're doing some weird stuff right now,
Yeah.
especially with this 5.0 and Beyond patch.
Yes, yeah. And I think the Natlan patch as a whole got blown completely out of proportion, whether it was people freaking out about new characters or whatever, which I'll bring up a point later. I agree to a point. I think the characters were fine. How they were incorporated in the story were fine, except maybe like Kachina. I did not like Kachina's role in the story. But other than that, I didn't think it was too horrible. I thought they at least did a somewhat understandable job of like characterization and how they handled personalities, and I liked it. I appreciated what they were going for. What I don't like, and again, this is like completely biased, is just number one, Lolly. I hated how they handled her. I hated how they just made her a crush. I liked her story. I did not like how it was just another crush for, the MC, whatever. The other thing I didn't like was, how are you gonna do Ianson that dirty, dog? Oh
Ah,
my
dude.
god. Like, straight up, she helps the traveler, the entire region, basically like helps him out with a bunch of different stuff, goes to a bunch of different tribes and tries to be a good person, and you delegate her to a 4 star?
Not even all that, but like the whole universe knew that people loved Ensign for ever since she was first introduced. Because
Exactly.
she's a cool character.
Yes.
And then 5 patches later, here we are. You give her the 4 star treatment,
Yeah,
diabolical 4 star treatment.
you Ning Wonged her like to the top degree. All for a cow. And here, this is pure fan service right here. All for a character that's clearly catered to male fans. And then, listen, I was harsh on her design, and I still kind of am, only because it might just be Ian's bias, and very possible, but only because it just feels like it generally just felt like fan service. That like the character just feels like fan service.
So, and let me ask you this. I was thinking about this while you were
Mhm,
talking, right?
mhm.
Do you think Genshin is starting to make like poor decisions, maybe out of fear of the success for the other two games?
Uh,
So they're trying to do desperate, like, please give us money type
maybe
things.
ZZZ. Definitely not Star Rail. I don't think they have it. They incorporate ideas from Star Rail, so I think they're more so a partnership. But ZZZ, I could definitely see they took a lot of the bad side, the money spending side from Genshin, and I can understand that. Which is, I'm not gonna say the big G word, but you get it. I think great. I wouldn't say they're scared so much as they still want to make sure that people spend money on their game. It's a very business like a business. They're handling like high form business would. They're catering to their fans that they know that'll spend money. Is how I feel.
I guess that's a fair point, but at what point do you stop shafting your
Exactly.
casual
Well,
fans
right.
or
Yeah.
the hardcores?
I mean, which is why I was like, well, they didn't so much in the beginning of an Atlan, which is why it was hopeful. But definitely during this back half of Natlan into Shneznaya, they definitely have been. And what's more disappointing for me is that their whole like I don't want to say character leak, but when they showed off like, hey, and do you remember that screenshot? If you maybe put this up in post, there was a screenshot of like all the characters, and they were like, yeah, here's who's coming up in these next couple
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
patches. And they cover, Skirk, Ianson, the cowgirl Varessa, I think her name is, and like all that stuff. They covered all of that, and it made me excited. They were kind of like very open about who was going to come, and I enjoyed that. Um, And I think in that instance, in the transfer from Natlin to Shneznaya, it'll be better. Like right now, they're just kind of getting everything else out for Natlin and like kind of like a mental reset going into Shneznaya. My point being, I'm not too concerned right now on the state of the game, but if it continues into Shneznaya once we get this new region, I will be very concerned.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it now, right? There is concern leaning towards the exploration part, which obviously is something Nadine focused heavy on.
Yes.
With the ice world, there's obviously be like new mechanics. Like Sheer Cold is gonna come back in some
Yeah,
way, shape, or form. I know that's gonna happen.
it has to. It's long overdue. You only have
There's
Dragon
definitely,
Spine.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely gonna be some like weird slippery ice mechanic.
Hmm.
I'm sure a character's gonna have a form of immunity to.
Hmm.
Um, that's just off the top of my head. Like there might be like an avalanche type thing.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about the exploration because if they focus hard on the exploration like they did with Nadlin, I
it'll
think
be beloved, honestly. And my huge thing is people hated Big Tree. Dragon Spine. I don't know why that took me so long to think of. But people hated Dragon Spine for the longest time, even though it was meant to be an area you come back to later, whatever. All the like horror stories of starting out in the game and dealing with that. Well, now it's a chance, after so many years of no new like mechanics and you get like a Dragon Spine type area where you can now expand on those idea. People are more experienced with the game, and they'll have immediate access because they give a waypoint if you're a high enough level. But like in general, you're still going to want to be a certain level to start tackling it and taking care of it. I think that it'll do them good, but they have to handle it delicately. It cannot be as bad and out of control and like over leveled as it was in Snezna or and Dragonspine, whether that means like enemies with certain mechanics or anything like that.
yeah, like maybe like they introduced like the animals with Natlin where you can like turn into like an
Yes,
animal. Like
yes,
something like that gives you like sheer cold immunity just to make it a
yes.
little bit more
I agree. I agree.
friendly.
I don't think they should like throw it at the wall and like hope it sticks. No, it should be very accommodating, and that's not saying, oh, make it easy to traverse, give it like no. I want it to be somewhat challenging. It's the quote unquote for the final region that we know of, because we don't know if there's anything after a new world, whatever. We don't know how long they're expanding the game, of course. But my biggest worry that I would see is like, oh, not going to provide any sort of immunity or whatever, or you need a pool for this certain character to have immunity to do like good exploration. Like I said,
Right. Yeah.
the only reason you would do, or the only character that has like some sort of immunity, and this is like completely not because how the character was designed, it's happenstance. Dea, the worst 5-star in the game, and she just is good for sheer cold. Not because, hey, she's a pyro user, like she has sheer cold immunity. No, no, no. It is genuinely by technicality that after a certain level, her passives just allow her to be pretty much immune to sheer cold. Not immune in the sense that like she doesn't take damage, but immune in the sense that she like heals up after a certain point, and the damage from sheer cold is low enough or like stagnant enough that it's doesn't matter.
Right. She just has sustain
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. Which I was like, okay, like that's cool, that's interesting, that's like, and again, completely not on purpose. But it would be nice to be like, oh, well, we know this is a really bad character, but you have a reason to use her now. You have a reason to explore now. It just stuff like that. I really hope they handle with. At least give it. It would allow old characters to have usage and stuff like that. There's also sheer cold food that you get in Dragonspine. Use that again. Give these ideas that you incorporated early in the game, make them be useful, make them be viable, make them have meaning.
Yeah, I mean, because we could talk about the exploration all day, but at the end of the day, like my biggest concern is going to be the combat, like what
Yes.
new mechanics get added with that. Like we had the night shields for Natlan.
Yeah.
Um, they can't. I don't think they can't do that again. I don't think.
No. I hope they don't.
No. Because I mean, look, you might have beaten the Night Shield guy without the Natlan character. Like you had Nuvalette on that one.
Yeah. Well,
the one stream, but like
yes.
that's a top 3 Nuvalette dog.
Yeah.
Not everybody has access to that.
Pure circumstance, like to the nth degree. That was genuinely pure circumstance. But yes, I agree. It's at a point where it could spiral out of control at any moment with these next characters coming up. Especially Skirk is supposed to be a really good cryo DPS, which I'm all for, considering there's like no good cryo DPSs besides like Risley, and even then, again, technicality.
Right. I don't know. I feel like Shizna is gonna be kind of because, like, look, Genshin, you're losing a lot. You're losing a fair amount of players at the moment.
Yeah,
and your banners are not making a shit ton of money like they were.
I mean, definitely not this last one. You had Mizuki and Siegeween, like the two worst characters you could be.
Even then, if you go to like compare, let's say, like Mavuika's
oh yeah,
Arena's first banner, or even like Nahida's first banner.
Yeah,
it's light and day comparison.
I get that.
So this is kind of like a make or break for them. I think they don't have to handle this perfectly because no game's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, right.
But it has to be handled really, really well.
Well, the big thing is that I'm worried. Just people are gonna complain no matter what. Go in knowing that that's gonna happen. It's gonna be a huge issue. There's gonna be people who are just unhappy and complain. The big thing, make it accessible for everybody. Make it I'm not saying like free to play friendly. I would like it if it was, but whatever. It's not always going to be like that. Okay, make it just easily accessible to a person. Maybe even not even me. You can pick it up, or one of our friends can pick it up and be like, I understood everything. I thought this was a good change or a good region, or it's fun to move around. It's easy to move around. I feel good exploring this area.
Right, because this is gonna be the comeback region supposedly, right?
You're right. Right.
A lot of the player base they're gonna leave their WUA.
Yeah.
Decide to go play a petty X4.
They're gonna take a break from the small break from ZZZ. This is make or break. You're coming into like big story regions right here. Nesnaya is gonna be big. Dealing with the Abyss is gonna be big. All that stuff happening is like very, very important to the player base. If you mess this up, there's no second chance Genuinely, there's no second chance. There's no like, oh, we can try again later. It is make or break for Genshin in this Shneznaya patch.
Yeah, yeah. Clickbait it, but no, it's not. I don't even think it's clickbait at this point.
No, it's just
Like Genshin will always have its whales. I think I don't think this game will ever like die though.
died. Yeah.
You know, if they don't have if they don't have that player base to support these big content updates, then the
Mm,
game's just gonna progress and slowly decay more and more and more. It's gonna be like a Honkai Impact incident.
yes, yes. That's actually a very, very good point to make. If it comes down to it, I think, like I said, I think they handled wow, English. I think they handled Natlin very beautifully. As much as people like to hate on it and say the story wasn't good, did it drag out its interaction with the characters? Yes, but you got a good idea on who these characters were, what they represented, and going into that final battle, we got a different side of Aether, of the Traveler, and I love. And in recent updates, they're giving him a lot more voice lines and letting him actually speak for himself, and I love it. It
Yeah,
is some of my favorite things to see.
yeah. I mean, they even got voice lines like the silly side quests, like the one for what we just had for
Yes,
Mitsuki, like the fair and
yes.
all that. Like, yeah.
And another note, while we're on the topic of voice lines, I do believe, don't quote me on this, I do believe that some of the voice actors are coming off of strike and accepting some sort of deal. Some of them, not all of them. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't heard much news after it like first broke, but I do know some of them are allegedly coming back and starting to voice act again.
Yeah, I did read that somewhere. Which I mean that's already a good sign. I
Yeah,
think it's a
yeah,
very good step in the right direction.
yeah. Um, okay, I think that's enough about Genshin. Honkai Star Rail, fix your game, please. Like, I don't. You
Fix and Honkai in the same sentence.
like, there's no way. I genuinely think Star Rail's kind of too far gone at this point. You made too many meta characters, and you just keep increasing the power of other characters. Like, it's not. It's just it's done. It's over. At this point, I genuinely do not know if there's any hope or any way that they can come back from that, short of like doing a Honkai third and like rebuilding the entire game from the ground up.
So
Wait, sorry, go ahead.
no, actually no. I just had this interesting question, right?
Mhm.
So you know how poorly Genshin handled Aloy, right?
Oh, God. Are you the Fate Stay Night stuff?
Yeah, right. So how do you think they're gonna handle the fate stuff?
Oh God, what a question. Um,
Because they've been releasing meta characters every patch, since like
yeah.
2.3 or something like
Yeah,
that.
at
But
least from the Lofu, like I said, I think my like first thing was just Imbibitor Lune, like just was already the start, the beginning of the end. Um, oh man, honestly, I don't know. And of course, I'm not like a Fate Stay Night fan, so I have no idea what it's about, what the series is about at all. Okay, that being said, they're either going to be absolute dog or the most broken things in existence, and I don't think there is any in between.
look, if they want to stay like close to the plot of the series, right? Like Aloy makes sense why she's weak in this world because like basically everybody in Genshin was shit on Aloy,
Yeah, I was gonna say the
but
power creep's insane.
but like the Fate characters in their own world are beyond broken. There's
Yeah,
no they can't make bad. They can't make Saber be an awful character.
yeah. It's a mess, man. It's a mess.
I,
I generally don't think there's winning either way because you can't make them like mid tier. People are gonna be mad about that. If you make them mid tier, you can't make them bottom. If you make them trash, people are leaving Star Rail. It's what's gonna happen. So like your only choice is to make them as broken as they are in their own respective series, which as we said, they need to stop doing. Like
I, I would make an
there's
exception for that.
I mean, yeah, my only thing is I wouldn't care if it wasn't already such a big issue.
Yeah, like I think this was supposed to come out in like 3.5. And they're already getting casters in 3.3 or like 3.2.
Yeah.
That's not even considering what other hard meta is coming in the 2 patches before then.
I mean, probably more if you're not like spending $300 to get the new character. You're not
Yeah, I mean,
waiting.
like Tribu's kind of
And
insane right now.
and not to mention, and my other big issue with that game, why is it that there's Genshin? You have a bunch of events. ZZZ, you got a bunch of events. Even Wuthering Waves, I don't play it, but whatever. I hear there's a decent bit of events. There is like nothing to do once you finish the main story. At most, there's like 1 or 2 events every patch, maybe 3 or 4 if you're lucky. Genshin has 4 for a half patch. ZZZ has like 6 or 7, I believe, for the whole patch.
Yeah, I think we're getting like 10 next
Yeah,
patch.
like, why is it that Star Rail only has like 3? Quick answer, let's fire back. I know why it's only like 2 or 3, because the game is so unbelievable. And I said this when the game came out. Got an achievement, don't know what that was. I said this when the game came out. It is so linear, it is linear to its own downfall. It is so painfully linear that it doesn't matter what they try to do. It's not open world. And here's the thing, ZCZ is an open world. They're doing fantastic. Their story is compelling, and the main thing is that their battle mechanics are engaging. Honkai Star Rail, you start a battle, press 2 buttons maybe, and that's it. That
Yeah,
is
the 2
it.
buttons you press is the speed up and the autoplay.
You're right.
It's not even real buttons.
Right. You do not have to be good at Star Rail at all. The game rewards you for doing nothing. You can tab out and do other stuff. And some people like that. Okay, that's fine. Don't know why you're playing a game if you're not going to play it, but whatever, right? The big thing is, of course, they can't make like a bunch of events. There's not enough characters because they make everything so secretive. They make a lot of characters unlikable. All that. And then you follow it up with, oh, hey, there's also like barely any areas to explore, or at least in the context of like exploration and events, there are little locations that make sense for an event. So you can't do events. You can't do anything major as it comes to like the story. Like story, there's no story quests. There's side quests, no like big story quests. It's all that coming together, it just makes the game worse.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've played all 3 of them. We both have.
Yeah,
I'll never understand how anybody can say Honkai is
the
like their
best of the
favorite.
3. Well, and it's crazy when it was coming out. Everybody, oh, this is gonna be the Genshin killer. This is gonna be the Genshin killer. I took one look at the gameplay mechanics. I took one look and heard it was gonna be linear. Heard it was gonna be all this stuff, right? And I said, nope, game's not gonna do well. People aren't gonna like it, and people loved it. It was a new shiny baby. People loved it. Oh, all the characters are whatever, and I love. Okay, yeah, all that honeymoon phase was over. Never heard another word about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see like linear's not always bad. Like again, we
No,
said it
right?
briefly with Zenless. So
Yeah,
Zenless is like they're handling their events really well. Like we had
exactly.
we got a fish, we got like a dock area in the
Yes,
last patch. This patch we had a whole fishing event for it. Say
yes.
what you will about it, it wasn't
It
amazing, but
wasn't great, but it was engaging. That's
it
the
was
big part for
engaging.
me.
It was redundant while being engaging. That's more than what
Yes,
anybody can say about
yes.
Honkai.
And like I said, I thought I would hate ZZZ. I was very skeptical to try it. I was like, the linearity throws me off. That was my big, after dealing with Star Rail, I'm like, linearity's throwing me off. Like, I tried it and I was like, you know what? This is good. I'm enjoying the story. The story's somewhat engaging. They have skip buttons if you don't really care about the story, and I can appreciate that. The side quests and stuff like that. And yeah, not every character is likable, but it is not nearly as bad as some of the other stuff we see. And everything that they offer, everything that they're trying to do, it's a very easy to appreciate.
I think what I really enjoyed like the characters, right? Because you said every character's not likable, and I can understand that,
Yeah,
but I enjoy that each character actually feels like they have their own distinct personality.
Yes,
Whereas with
yes.
Honkai, every character is like they really just feel the same, but one's more mean than the
Yeah,
other.
exactly. I completely agree with that. And like, it's not that I hate the characters in ZZZ. Like I said, I think some of them are very, very likable and like a very interesting choice, and I like that. I appreciate what they do with the game. Um, for me, sometimes it just comes off to like one character is like just a trope, not like their own personality. Sometimes people are tropes. Like they do a
Mm.
great job. Like Billy and Ambi. This is just the beginning of the game, basic level stuff. Billy and Ambi. I really like their personalities. They don't feel like a trope. They feel like they have their distinct emotions, distinct personalities. They feel like very pointed on how they're doing, and that's two completely like polar opposite characters. Okay, and you have somebody like Nicole who's just like feels like just a typical. I don't mean like poor person. I must let that one rip, but I don't mean it like that.
Interesting.
Like just a typical stereotype, like oh, I need money type of person, and like very money hungry. And of course, in lore, you learn that like she donates a lot to like orphanages and stuff like that, and like buys noodles for a bunch of the kids and stuff like that. Okay, I can appreciate that. That makes her a little bit more likable. It makes her a little bit, but the main part of the story is you just see well, just her like scrounging for money and not paying off debts, which is like very and just me personally, it could be like a home training thing and like not wanting to owe people stuff. It just makes her feel unlikable, in my opinion, and very stagnant when that's like the only thing that her character's about.
Right, like I don't hate it, but I think it's kind of a boring running trope. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
It,
And again,
I wish they showed us more of the like, the charitable side
you're right,
of the
right.
character.
Well, and if they took it in the direction like, hey, if she was open and honest about it, 'cause she's very she like I said, she's a trope, so she's not like open and honest about her emotions, whatever. I really wish they would have taken the time, even if it's in a side quest, even if it's slightly mentioned in the main story, like, hey, I'm gonna be late on paying whatever because that the charitable stuff. Then I'd be like, that's a likable character. She has good passion, good, like understandable, and like she's likable. She's doing a good thing compared to, oh no, I just can't pay you back, but I also want you to pay me extra every single chance I get. I'm gonna try to upcharge you. Like that's just annoying, in my opinion. And
Yeah, I don't know.
some people are gonna
It's a
think different.
I think it's a very fair point, and like there's this whole like running theory right with Nicole, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like something in the story where she's actually like some rich person's daughter that like got like pushed out or whatever with
Mm-hmm.
like a family thing, which I'm sure was means she might get her like her own backstory, 5-star variant, whatever like they're doing with Andy or
Yes,
Luke.
yeah, which I love, by the way. That was a great choice.
Yeah, yeah, they had it was either her or Billy that were gonna get it first. I'm
Yeah,
happy it's one of them. Yeah, but I don't know. Valid criticism to just like her character could do better.
yeah. And they have a bunch of time. This isn't me saying she can't change or she's like stuck doing whatever. No, no, no. Like take your time, build the character, make it like we'll make it understanding, etc. I'm
I mean,
a
like,
okay with that.
I mean, look at what they built Paimon. Paimon's changed over time. She went from being somewhat useless to completely useless.
Exactly. Now they just have to do it in like reverse.
I hope Paimon dies in Chesnoya.
Please, like bring Signora back to life and like have her like burn Paimon to a crisp. Please.
At least have her like betray us. So we don't have to see her for a few patches.
Honestly, I mean, with the whole like, I don't know if you watched the cutscene for the battle pass in Genshin, but it's she's like some sort of queen or something that's like lost her memory or she's cursed or something. I don't know, man.
They just be making anything a queen dog. She's a diaper baby.
She does have that diaper build. I don't hate Paimon. I just hate that she's just very, she's childish, which makes sense because she's like a child.
While we're here, let's talk about like the three like little like mascots of the games, right?
Yes.
We have Paimon. I'm talking about all the characters on like the desktop
Yeah.
icons.
Yeah.
We got Anby, Paimon, and March 7th, right?
Yeah.
If you could put them in order, which order would you put them in?
Ah. Ah.
I feel like the number one spot's really easy, right?
No. Yeah. I'm mostly Ambi's fine, dude. Ambi's peak. I love Ambi. Um. I'm just thinking about God. I'm gonna have to give this one to Paimon. March 7th is insufferable as a companion character. Like genuinely, she has a bad attitude, she's rude, she's disrespectful, etc. I don't want to say I can't stand her because that's I don't mean like I can't stand her. Like I think she has potential. I just think her potential is kind of doo doo when it as it comes to like God, this is really hard for me. Okay, because like they pose it. Paimon is annoying. Okay, straight up, I'm just gonna say it. When she yells and gets angry because she's a child and got her heart broken by a childish insult, that is annoying, and I don't like that side of her character. But she has expressed during the Sumeru story quest, which you haven't played yet. I'm not gonna spoil much for you, but like something happens and it's very heartbreaking, and like she gets very concerned over the traveler and like literally starts bawling tears because she thinks that something happened. That in that part of Paimon I wish they would show like a different that side of her more, and they do in Fontaine. Literally her and whichever traveler you have sleep together in the same bed, and like they're watching over each other while they sleep. Even though there's a whole separate bed, Paimon wants to be with the traveler. They want to make sure they're safe, and that side I appreciate at Paimon. With March 7th, dog, she couldn't care if we lived or died. Genuinely, it seems like it. We try to, and the worst part of March 7th, I think, is that when you joke around with her, well, like in text dialogue, they usually have a lot of meta humor, like a lot of jokes. If you joke around with March 7th, she gets offended and just starts like berating you for like joining in on a joke or making a joke. And I'm like, dog, you, not either A, you started it, or B, why are you being a dick? Like, we're just goofing off. It's not that deep. Sorry. I was kind of a long tangent, but like,
I think you make a fair point, but I don't know, man. I hate Paimon. I hate Paimon so much.
she does, like I said, she gets a little better during Sumeru um and the hell? During Sumeru and Fontaine, but she's kind of, I'm gonna be honest, she's useless in Alan. Straight up, I'm gonna be straight up. She's like about as useful as a brick. Although again,
A brick would be more useful.
she does have a kind moment with the Traveler in Natlan when they're prepping for like the final battle. So I will give her that. Like I said, I just think she's a better companion character because it seems like she actually cares about the main character. Ambi really cares about the main character, it makes her likable. Um, Paimon really cares about the Traveler, and it makes her likable. And with March 7th, it just feels like she just. No, I don't want to say despises, because, like, still the main character, still whatever. But as it comes down to it, it just feels like she cares less compared to those other big two.
You know, I guess we'll have to come back to this at some point when
Yeah.
they when March 7th like wakes up from her ice coma later season.
Dude, I'm not keeping up with that story. I don't even know if I'll ever want to re-download the game, dog.
I wouldn't. Are you kidding me? Dude, 95 gigs for a linear
Oh
ass
my
game?
god.
Where's all that
Where's
storage
all the
going?
gigs? Oh my god, I'm
Like, dude,
starving.
look, this is a smaller game, yeah, but like, it definitely has more impact frames, more animations.
Oh my god.
I guess the dialogue is they don't stop talking in Honkai.
Hey, oh my god, you're not joking. As much as people complain about Genshin, at least when the people in Genshin talk, it means something. When people in Honkai Star Rail talk, they're talking about either something in lore that you cannot understand unless you like actually get into the lore, which I'm not getting into the lore of a linear game, whatever. It should be easy to understand for everybody if you're gonna make a story. It feels so like disengaged and hard to understand when it comes to Honkai Star Rail story, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
It
If I
wouldn't even be I'm sorry, you can
yeah,
continue.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, I was done.
I'm saying, like, it wouldn't even like the long dragged out stories wouldn't be a problem if they weren't so dragged ass
Yes,
in Honkai,
like
right?
two and my thing is, there's only like okay, when like a new area comes out, it's only gonna be like It's going to be like 7 or 8 areas, which is fine. But once you unlock all the areas, there's no more to explore like that. Once you unlock everything from a specific area, all the points, all the new locations, that is it. You might get like 1 or 2 locations during a story quest throughout the entire rest of the patch, and that is it. And that's my other thing, okay? I'm not sure how it is with Zenless because I wasn't there when it started, but Genshin, a new area releases, and there's like 3 or 4 different places you can go, and like a bunch of stuff to explore, and hence, this is another case of the linearity coming back to be useless. There's like nothing to do in Honkai Star Rail because there's a limited amount of chests. Not only can you use a guide to find out where the chests are, but you could also just like walk around and find them on my own. I didn't use a guide for like a whole, like, I think it was like the entirety of Penacony, and I still found like almost 95% of the stuff without ever like opening a guide, which yes is nice for exploration, but the big problem is I did it all in a not even a day. Like I think I did it in like 3 hours.
Yeah, and not even that, but there's 2 characters now that just like
And
find the
just
chest
find
for
you.
you.
You have Numby and then the other one that like and then the Herta. And I'm like, oh my god, what is the point of exploring in Star Rail? You just find everything immediately. Genshin, huge. Just Sumeru itself is probably bigger than the entirety of Honkai Star Rail. That's a
Dude,
bit.
the chasm's bigger than Honkai Star Rail.
I mean,
Arguably.
really, not even joking. That's the worst part.
The chasm's kind of small
Yeah,
compared to the rest of the map.
exactly. And I'm just like, I cannot comprehend the lack of exploration and the lack. If you want to have a linear game, fine, but you better make it fun. You better make it have replayability, and that's the big thing. You make it focused on meta. It has low replayability besides like dailies and the simulated universe, which, you know, if the simulated universe was fine, the one in the Penacony simulated universe was great. That was the only simulated universe I liked. Everything else, buns. And you need that to pull for some characters. And I'm like, you're just forcing stuff on people at that point.
Right, I mean, like linearity and stuff. Like, let's look at Persona 5. A
Oh,
linear mapped style game,
oh my god.
almost infinite replayability.
Oh my
There's so many
god.
different ways to express yourself in that game.
I'm gonna like start panting. Don't make me replay Persona 5 again, dude.
Like, I'm just saying, like, it's linear games where I mean, even Pokemon games, like the older
Yes.
ones are very linear. Nintendo, this is the
Yes.
only good thing I'm going to say about you for. Um, it's like it's like Pokemon Leaf Greens and the
Yes.
Hoenn games, all
And black
great,
and
still
white.
linear,
And
tons of replayability,
yes.
tons. I just don't understand how Honkai has fumbled the bag so hard for so
Yeah.
long. People still glaze the hell out of it.
Yeah, and say it's like a perfect game. I'm like, it's not. There's so many flaws, so many bad things, and so many missteps that they have taken and have been rewarded for, and it amazes me. And of course, you know, the big YouTubers aren't going to talk about it. The whatever, you know, that's what we're here for. We say what the big ones won't. Um, and as it comes down to it, straight up, they aren't going to talk about it, and they aren't going to even mention like the faults with it. They're just gonna, you know, whatever gets some clicks, whatever good thing they say about it gets some clicks. My big thing, my huge thing, is that when it comes down to it, every game has faults. You need to be appropriate in the way you handle it, like handle talking about it. Okay,
Hmm.
it is very easy to say this game is bad and then cut it off there. You have to at least give reason. It's important to acknowledge a good game's faults. We mentioned it earlier. Does Pokemon have faults? Does Persona 5 have faults? Yes, plenty of them. But they're still considered like cult classics. They're still considered some of the best in terms of linear gameplay. Why is Star Rail not looked at the same? At least,
What's I'm just like what I don't understand too is like they get like, 'cause a lot of the Genshin players have been moving over there because
yeah,
of they're just bitching to bitch.
yeah,
Um, and it's like oh I love Honkai. This game is amazing.
yeah,
How do you go from an open world game and like playing it for years, glazing the hell out of it, getting
yeah,
made fun of for it, and still playing the game, to going to a linear game?
yeah.
with a JRPG style that you don't even get to play.
Yeah.
The game plays for you.
Yeah, which is the worst part, which is why everybody was like so excited about the auto battle. I'm like, that is the worst thing you could give a linear game like that.
Like, dude, a Roblox Tycoon has more gameplay than that.
And my thing is, if you need an auto battle, if you need a fast forward battle, your gameplay is too long and too boring and not sustainable.
And I get that it's nice for the convenience of grinding or whatever.
Right, which
That's
is
that's a fair point.
yes.
I can't get mad at that.
No, 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 I agree.
It's just like, why is it? I don't know.
It's too
it's just
widespread.
irritating.
It is too widespread. Is the issue. Like if it was in certain like domains, if say the domains where like you could have speed up, that would be fine. But like it is so disengaged. All you have to do, and they do this for literally just the boss fights. They don't do this for enemies you encounter during the story, specifically boss fights. They turn off auto battle. I think that's wonderful. You want to still have speed up, but that's fine. But you turn off auto battle. Turn off during story events. Turn off during side quest events. Only really have them on for like domains and like maybe the universe. It would make the game more. It would make the game, and that's not a perfect fix, but it's a start. It would make people mad that they can't just skip through dialogue, and I get that, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's engaging. You're playing a game. The fact that people can tab out or even play a second game while playing Honkai Star Rail is embarrassing. Because at that point, you're playing an idle game.
Yeah.
And call it what it is. It is an idle game.
All right. I don't think anyone's gonna argue with that on that one. we
no, I was just gonna say we've been covering like a lot of the gacha aspects. I did also want to cover EA and stuff like that.
Well, I was gonna say because like we called it like the gambling episode. We hardly even talked about like the gacha parts of the big three.
I know. So I guess just real quick because I think EA you're next on the shit list. I don't mind how they okay. Genshin banners, I don't mind. The weapon banners are kind of a scam unless you are specifically going for the weapon. They decrease the fate points needed to get it guaranteed for a weapon, and I can appreciate that. I do. I understand. It was a big criticism, and they finally changed it way back when. Okay, fine with that. It's still a little much. I wish they would just have like a guarantee if you fail, like they do the standard ban or the main like character banners. But like I said, in the sense that you're going for it, specifically that weapon, I can tolerate it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Star Rail, awful. You don't get enough pools, so they basically require. I'll say it like it is. You're playing an idle game. You really, like I said, I was just building every single character in that game, literally just because I didn't really have anything else to do. I couldn't do like big end game content because I didn't have the necessary team comps because I wasn't pulling for the meta characters. Meaning, you just, yeah. Maybe I should have brought that point up. You cannot do end game content. Like completely, you cannot 100% end game content if you do not have the required characters. Hence why it was so big when I mentioned how ZCC needs to not do that and make it accessible, or and Genshin too. Or if you're gonna make it for don't make it for a specific character. Make it so it's easily accessible. But yeah, you can't do end game content without like pulling for new characters. Follow up from that. Zenless Zone Zero, I don't mind their gacha. I think they're decently generous with pools. They have enough events where you get like a decent bit of pools every single day, and that's not including like all the other endgame contents that they have. That is pretty accessible, at least just from the little bit I've seen. I'm not sure about you, Tappy.
Oh no, it's very accessible.
Okay.
I think so far this patch alone I've gotten around 140 pools.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. And like you said, the big difference between like something like Genshin and like Honkai and DZ, Genshin makes you work for your pools. Not to say that Zenless doesn't, but Genshin makes you work for your pools. Zenless just has a lot of events, which is fine. They make the game engaging enough, you know. But like Honkai, you don't earn any pools because not only do they not give you the chance to earn any pools, but on top of that, you don't, there's, like I said, once you explore everything, once you look at everything, there's no point. Genuinely, you have no incentive or anything besides like the weekly universe reset, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll just. Honkai sucks. That's
That's the
that's
name.
the point of
That's
this video.
yeah.
That's the point of this video, dude. Screw that game.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about the EA stuff, right?
Yes, yes. Just quick, and again, I don't play a lot of the EA Sports games. I don't.
I don't play any of them, so this
I
is all
have
you.
okay. I have like one Madden game, and like so I went from Madden 13. My first game ever, Madden 13 that I played, and I went from that to Madden 24. Why are we locking like let's just say Ultimate Team? Why is that gotcha now? Why is that? Why is anything? The FIFA, the pack openings. You've seen Speed do it. You've seen all these other YouTubers do it. Why are we locking characters behind? But I already paid $60 for your game. That's the big one. You don't make the game free. It's the same game every year, and you don't just update the roster. Why am I then paying you an additional like 100 whatever dollars to pick up? And that's generous. 100 is generous. Why am I then paying you $100 out of my own pocket to basically pay you to get a good character that helps me win the game? And the fact that people fall for it is arguably more ridiculous, but whatever. People are going to be people. If there's a market, it'll sell.
Right? Yeah. Like I had a coworker that would only buy the like Ultimate Edition or whatever of the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
just
just
so like think like he was serious about it.
yeah,
You needed a leg up to compete. I don't like that's disgusting. Honestly,
yes.
that's almost as bad as Call of Duty and having like a $7 game plus a
Oh,
battle pass
don't
every year.
don't get me started. I was shocked that they didn't charge money for Warzone 2. If I'm honest with you, that was like the biggest shock to me. I thought they were 100% going to make it like $30 to $70, but they did. Well, they did with Black Ops 6, but you know.
This is disgusting corporate practices over
Yeah,
here.
I mean, it just doesn't shock me. EA is going to be EA. You screw over Apex Legends, you make that game die. Let's be honest, it's dead. Same reason, not same reason, but
Let's let's not talk about Apex's gotcha, dog.
don't get me
Uh,
started. If I ever hear the words heirloom again, and I didn't even get that deep into Apex Legends. Thank God that game's like awful. But I'm like just hearing the heirloom horror stories is enough to like put me off. But yeah, I'm not. That's pretty much all I was covering. But like, yeah, EA, you're not gonna watch this. None of you guys are gonna see this. Please, for the love of God, why are you such a scummy corporation? Please do better.
I'm really happy in the last like couple of years people are starting to really dig at
Yes,
EA.
like I said, I only bought Madden 24 because it was like 50% off, and I was like, I'll pay $30 for it. I haven't gotten a Madden game in a decade. But I'll pay for it. I'll pay $30 for it.
Yeah, no, never pay for one of those sports
I
games.
don't blame
That's
you.
dead. That's so
Don't
dead.
blame you. Like I said, only reason I got it was just because people, my friends wanted to play, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy it on sale. And at that point, like, just for example, if you and me were like, you were like, oh, I want to like play a Madden game. I'm like, okay, well, let's buy this specific Madden game, and that's all we're going to play for the next decade, Tabby. Like, I hope you're ready to
No,
buckle
no, don't
down.
worry, dude. That won't happen.
I know. I'm just saying that was just an example, but yeah, I'm just like that's the only universe where I like sit down and like buy one.
Yeah. Um. You know, I'm trying to think. Hold up. I
You're,
lost my thought process.
you're good. I pretty much got everything else I would say. I mean, unless you want to go back to like shitting on Honkai. I mean, I love that.
I feel like we've dug in
We
that game
don't.
enough.
My God.
Like it's like realistically, this episode's just been an hour of shitting on Honkai. There's tons of other gacha games we could talk about. Like there's
Yeah, Wuthering
there's
Waves.
so many mobile games.
Yeah. I mean, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, any of the Nikki games, like yes, there's a lot we can cover.
Yeah,
Well,
Cookie Kingdom, which I'm surprised is still alive.
yeah, which yeah, for like that type of game, I'm surprised. But yeah, for the most part, I don't really have a lot of coverage on other games besides like the big Mihoyo stuff and like EA stuff. And even then, my EA stuff isn't that knowledgeable. So I don't want to feed anybody bad information, wrong information, untrue, especially on like a game I know nothing about. That's just false advertising, and that's not us.
Right, like
Um,
if you guys want like a part two to this
yes,
episode at some
yes,
point, like make sure you put that down in the comments. We'll do
yeah,
some more research. We'll come back and dog on
yeah,
these other gotcha games.
yeah, definitely. Um, I think that's all for me, Tappy. Unless you had anything else you want to add.
I have nothing. I know, like I was gonna dig in Pokemon TCG, but I don't feel like it anymore.
Listen,
That game's horrible.
I mean, but like 2 free packs every day.
You realize like that's like honestly what Nintendo and like Game Freak are doing at this point, like, that's
It's
almost
just
like
like, dude.
what are they called,
Okay,
the NFTs.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna save this for our Nintendo episode because it was an early release. Pokemon Legends EA. We're covering Nintendo next. I'm digging in. We're digging in Nintendo.
Yeah,
Legends EA. Oh my god.
Yep, because April 2nd, I think they have the Switch 2 trailer,
Yep.
like
Okay.
on the official direct.
Honestly, I might. We could do live reaction and the day after do a podcast episode. I need to see this. This is Nintendo. You're next. Your time is coming. Time is counting down. You got show off, showcase, all that in in April, and then you're cooked right after, dude. That better be a peak performance. It better get 120 frames. It's not going to, and I'm gonna dig in you for not having 120 frames. But
I wouldn't be
Nintendo.
surprised if it barely gets 60.
Oh my
We saw the
god.
Pokemon Legends ZA
The,
trailer.
the frame drops in the
That shit
ZA trailer. Oh
that
my
shit was pushing like
god.
28 maybe.
Which is insane. It's begging for mercy. Ah.
Dude, it's a trailer. I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but how are you having frame drops in a
Oh
trailer?
yeah, in a trailer
This is
is insane.
this is stuff you're choosing to show off, by the way.
Yeah, willingly. It wasn't like there was a leak and they had to rush to put something out. No. They had time. Anyway, I don't want to get too into it. We'll save that for next time. Nintendo, you're a joke. You're gonna hear the Undertaker bell in the background. All right. We'll cover that next time. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any suggestions for episode, let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. That's about it. See ya.
See ya.